Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. Please do like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate that because that would help me to spread awareness for mental health reasons, for missing children, missing adults, victims who do not have a voice of their own, and important discussions that help us to have a healthier mental health. I'd like to start by thanking everyone, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'd love to wish everyone and their family a lovely Christmas holiday, a New Year celebration, and I would love to come back to the case of the four victims that died in Idaho, Moscow, on the 13th of November. Four victims were found brutally murdered in, slain in their house in Kings Road, 1122 Kings Road, in Idaho, Moscow, near the university campus. The killer or the killers are still in loose. Nobody has got any new updates. Law enforcement has spoken recently, but they haven't updated us much. There hasn't been much changes in the situation, but we are aware of the forensic results do take time before getting in the whole results of the forensics and everything. The crime scene is going to be very complicated because many hundreds of people have been in and outside that house. There were already six roommates living in that house. At least five were occupying the house on regular basis. You can imagine how much evidence is there just of five, six people who lived in the house. Then you can imagine all the friends, all the families, all the neighbors, law enforcement, how many people have visited the house, touched the knobs, touched the walls, have visited the toilets, in and outside the premises. So obviously there is a lot of fingerprints and DNA going to be roaming around the place. Just the toilet seat is enough to have enough of different DNAs. So this is going to be a very complicated, vulnerable forensic reports. I believe that, just say if forensic reports usually take 2 weeks, in this case it will take 8 to 9 weeks, because you can imagine by the time they find all the fingerprints in the crime scenes, and then by the time they sort out each and every person's fingerprints, rule them out, or they have to question them from the start, find out where they've been, where were they that night when this happened, find out how close did they know any of the victims, find out if they had any issues with the victims, find out if there's been any arguments between the people. There is so much to find out that this is not going to be an easy task. The fact that it happened inside the house where so many people have visited on different circumstances has a lot to say for this case. Then we have when the students were found dead. Allegedly, one of the roommates thought that one of the roommates was conscious, so she called her friends. Her group of friends came there before law enforcement came. So you can imagine how many people have tampered the crime scene, how many people have touched places they're not supposed to be touching. A lot has happened. So this is a crime scene that is going to take real time, going to take experienced officers, going to take experienced behavior analyzer panel to work on this case. There's so many in and outs with this case. There's so many suspects that we can, on the outside, or people of interest that we can clearly see. So imagine the people that we are not aware of, but law enforcement know of. So this is really a sad, heartbreaking case because four students, four young people have lost their lives so tragically. And I thought to myself, what can make someone come to the stage where they literally take silence for people? And that word is actually a very important word because that is what I believe happened. Somebody came to silence for people. None of the victims got raped, which is a good thing. And that makes me believe that it could have actually been a drug dealer, like I said before. The reason I stick on the drug dealer side being one of the important things that we should focus on is because the Uber driver has stated at the beginning of this case, allegedly, he said that he's drove many customers to that house to buy drugs and pick up drugs, if you remember that. And if that is the case, then I'm sure we're talking about customers. And then when we're talking about customers, they're good customers, bad customers, jealous customers, happy customers, customers that want to snitch, customers that don't want to have anything with this case to do. So what I'm wondering about is those words that Kaylee told Maddie the last night. She said, "Mad, what did you tell Adam?" And then Mad said, "I told Adam everything." I'm wondering, did Kaylee know a secret example that there was a drug dealer selling drugs in their house? They were maybe getting a bit cut out of the money. Could it be possible that's how she afforded a Land Rover? I'm just asking the question. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I'm thinking personally that what could have happened is that murder in such a way can happen not only for love and such things, I believe it can happen for money. So, what if somebody his cover was being blown and that person did not like it? So that person thought, no, I have to keep Kaylee and Maddie silent. And maybe he went there to kill them, and then Ethan and Zana came out and he killed them too. Possibility, allegedly. What if it was the other way around, and what if Ethan and Zana found out that somebody was dealing drugs in the Sigmund, what's it called? Sigmund or Sigma K. So could it be possible that somebody was going to snitch on somebody who was dealing severe drugs and making a lot of money, and that person knew, the dealer knew that he's going to lose his customers, lose his financial gains on these drugs. He's going to feel humiliated when people find out that such a gentleman was actually doing this. Could it be possible that he went to a rage and maybe went to confront the girls and he ended up killing them? And he saw that the other two girls witnessed it, so he killed them too. Could it be just a possibility that drugs and money could have led this into four quadruple murders? I think everything is possible. It needs to be checked out. Either Eaton and Zana witnessed something that they weren't supposed to see, and that could have ended somebody's life by getting the person in jail, maybe humiliated the person, and maybe the person was scared that they were going to tell, so he went over to finish Xana and Ethan, and they found out that the girls heard the noise, so that they had to kill the girls too. If you'll, I hope you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I'm saying it could be one way or the other. I'm saying if it was with drugs and money, it could make sense as a motive. That means not only were the girls and Eaton targeted if it was because of drugs and money motive, it would make a lot of sense that the house was targeted too. Because I can see that there's no love in this picture because there wasn't any rape, luckily. I've heard many professions saying that the person was incompetent to do what he came to do, and yes, but I don't believe that was the case. The person would have finished out his fantasy, but this is, I think, more of a drug deal or a drug story, drug and money motive that went totally wrong. And the person who was doing this and dealing with this got panicked so much and got so upset that he decided to go there and deal with it. And he saw the other two victims must have got up when he finished his job. One of the witnesses just say Eaton must have seen it and yelled, and he must have attacked them all. I'm starting to really think that because of what the cab driver said. It does make sense. The cab driver said himself at the start, the private Uber driver, the cab driver, he said that people used to go to that house to pick drugs, and people used to go to that house to buy drugs. So this is just one motive I've been thinking about for a while. Let me know what you believe about it, guys. I'm really interested to know about it. And obviously, the other person who's one of my biggest suspects is Jack D. And I said that from the very start because most of the motives are pointing out at him. The dog was quiet. Obviously, the dog knows his owners. That's Kaylee and Jack D. Maybe Jack D considers the dog Kaylee and Jack D is kind of baby, or kind of, what to say, their pet as their child, like the responsibility. So maybe he did not want the dog to be, what's it called, to be traumatized. So he put the dog away in another room so that the dog would not witness Kaylee losing her life. That is very possible from my side. I believe that's one of the reasons. I believe that he's a big suspect. Another thing is he lives only 1.5 minutes away from the crime scene. The other thing is Maddie called him thrice. Kaylee called him 7 times. On the whole total, they called him 10 times. Why did they need to call Jack? Is very suspicious for me. There's just so many things that doesn't add up with Jack. Another thing, Jack knew that Kaylee was going for good. She got a nice job that she liked, intern job in Texas. Kaylee was very excited to visit Europe and many other parts of Europe, so she was going on her own adventure. Life was starting out for her. Maybe they didn't see eye to eye. Maybe what's his name? Jack did not want to finish this relationship. Maybe he believed that both the dog and Kaylee was part of his life, that they belonged to him. Maybe he's a narcissistic. We don't know. But I'm just saying the name Jack. haven't you could even see in the memorial, you could see clearly that was his name Jeff, Matt, his ex-boyfriend or boyfriend, Jake. He was crying. We didn't see any tears coming from Jack's eyes. All I could see is he was making those big puppy eye dogs to Kaylee's mother, and she felt sorry and she went and gave him a hug. And you could see Kaylee's father giving him that look and going towards his sons. And he walked off with his sons and his daughters. You could see the father Steve doesn't like Jack that much as the mother. It's the mother and the sister that are trying to cover up or trying to support Jack and lean on his side, but it doesn't look like Jack is getting the same support and love from the father. There's many things about Jack that doesn't sit right with me. So Jack could have thought that it's too late, Kaylee's going,